glad to have you. Got a special guest today, Scott Golomboski, whom I've known about 25 years, right?
About 25 years, yes.
25 years. Come in here to share with us. And so how long you been riding, man?
I've only been riding maybe 15 years, because there's been some time lapsing in between when I had bikes. One of the first bikes, well, I'll go back to what really got me into liking motorcycles. I grew up in Cleveland, and my next door neighbor built choppers.
Oh, man.
This would have been in 70 or 72, and I remember they would be out Saturday night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and these guys, and I know they had some club affiliation, but I don't know who it was. But they'd be out in the street just doing burnouts on them choppers and hearing the loud motors, and I thought, man, that's the kind of biker I want to be. And so
one in every neighborhood.
Right. And so but I started out on a little Honda QA50 that my aunt gave me, and I had friends that had dirt bikes till I moved to Houston when I was 19. And I moved down there, and I still, throughout high school, I dressed the part of a kind of biker you would see in Easy Riders, you know, and still had that desire to be that type of a biker. And the first motorcycle I got was a Kawasaki LTD 440. And I thought, well, there's nobody gonna let me in their club with a Kawasaki 440. So, and then that was the only bike I had for, well, until I turned 50. So it had been 25 years. I had a Silver Wing that belonged to my brother for a short time, but that never really had another bike. And I really believe it was a God thing, that God was keeping me from it because he didn't want me to get into that lifestyle. So when I was turned 50, I bought my first Harley. It was kind of my birthday present, and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, man. Hey, everybody's got some good old dirt bike scars on them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yep.
Starting
dirt
out,
bikes and mini bikes.
I remember we'd go get the gloves, man. We'd had to do some stunts down at the railroad tracks. So 50 years old, you get your first Harley.
Yep.
And then what do you got now?
I have a Harley. Got a Night Train.
Night Train.
2001 Night Train. Yep.
Yeah.
So I traded work for it, so it can sit and lose value all it wants. I have a hard time paying for something and have it lose value, so I tend to get rid of it while I can still make some money back. And that's what happened with my other Harleys.
You know what? I remember, when your bike's in the shop and it's 80 degrees out, 85 degrees, oh man, hey, get depressed, right?
Right.
So I remember when mine was down. All right, my bike was in the shop. I'm trying to get it back, and then you were raising money to help get it fixed. Right. I don't know if you remember that old Red. Yeah. Yep. That meant a lot to me, man.
Right.
And so anyway, I ended up we got that going, which man, I just came to mind, but I appreciated that.
I remember also while your bike was down, I let you ride I called it the American Banana. It was a yellow bike with the American flag coming through the paint. It was really, really cool paint job.
Yeah, it was.
And that was an 02 Harley.
Yeah,
and
but
it was a Heritage. And I imagine that the guy bought it right after 9/11 and had it painted that color in support of 9/11. But it was a cool bike, but I ended up trading that. Made the mistake. I traded it in for a Yamaha Venture. No, nothing against Yamaha riders or the Ventures. It just was a different bike. The balance was different, and it had a whine to it that I just couldn't get used to.
Yeah, right.
And so I got rid of that, and then ended up with the 2010 Road King.
Yeah, that's a good bike.
And that was one because of COVID. The value went up to several $1,000s more than I paid for it. So when I sold it, I actually got back the money I paid for it.
Wow.
And like I said, I don't like keeping things that depreciate if I had to pay cash or finance it.
So all that riding and everything else, man, getting in the wind, doing dirt bike riding. When did you come to your faith in Christ? Like, when did you get saved?
I actually got saved. I got sober in 1991, September 17th, 91. I had an uncle that was in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I thought, man, if Uncle Tony can stay sober. See, my Uncle Tony shot a man in '66, and he was actually trying to kill his ex-wife, and ended up shooting the neighbor and paralyzed him for life. And he spent time in Marion, and maybe 20 years before he actually got out. And he started an AA program in Marion, and once he got out of the penitentiary, he kept at it. And I remember sitting at the campsite. We used to have campers out at Osage Park in Wadsworth, and I remember him telling me, he says, "You're just gonna have to get right one day. You're gonna have to get right one day." And he knew I was a teenager. I was 15 years old. He knew I was partying really hard, and I started using drugs when I was 11. And started out with drinking beer, 3-2 beer. When I was 11, I was 6 feet tall, had a size 10.5 shoe, and would go down to the Dairy Dell and buy 3-2 beer because they thought I was 18. And I would buy beer for everybody in the neighborhood, and that's how it started. In the summer between 6th and 7th grade, I started smoking weed, and then it went from weed to when I was 12, I overdosed on PCP, and just led to cocaine, I smoked crack. I did everything but put a needle in my arm. And so when I had gotten sober, I was probably 2 years sober, and I went into a Berean Christian store, and I saw this t-shirt and it had a picture of Christ. I don't know if this will pick up on the camera, but it looked a little bit like my tattoo.
Check that out.
But it had it on the shirt, and it said Heavenly Divine Son on it, and on the back said worship the best or die like the rest. So I thought, wow, that's cool. That's like Harley. So I bought the shirt, and I started wearing that. And then at that time, it wasn't a Christian. I didn't really believe. I was more agnostic. I wasn't atheist at that time. One time I was an atheist. And then I went into AA, and I became borderline atheist, agnostic, and started thinking, well, man, look around. You've got all these happy people. They're now sober. And look at the things in nature. How did that just happen? And so then I started thinking more. And in AA, they talk about a higher power and everything like that. So
wait a minute, like the 2 years you were sober, like, so you were going to AA?
I was going to AA.
Okay, all right.
And I was very active in AA. I was talking at AA meetings a lot, leading a lot of, but I wasn't saved. But when I bought that shirt, that's when I decided Jesus Christ was going to be my higher power.